Some might say it's scary to sleep alone in a tent. Well, maybe. Some animals rustled nearby at night, but it seemed like they were more afraid of me than I was of them. Breakfast was simple, oatmeal with cheese. I packed up camp and descended to the road, feeling like I was starting the day just right. The moment I started pedaling, I knew this day was going to be special. The asphalt was mine alone, the scenery breathtaking, and I was riding as if flying, not in terms of speed, but in freedom. But freedom comes with a price. The uphill climbs were long and steep, especially with my heavy bike. I often had to get off and walk uphill, but then I'd see a sign, a red triangle warning of a downhill ahead. I started collecting those red triangles in my mind, my rewards for the hard work. Wind, adrenaline, happiness. I was in a hurry. Tomorrow I needed to catch a ferry on the northern shore of the lake. That ferry would take me across 80 kilometers of water to the southern side. Lunch was just a quick snack shared with a shy dog before continuing on my way. Not everything went smoothly. I passed the aftermath of a car accident. It looked like the driver had missed a curve and ended up off the road. People had gathered to help, and I tried not to intrude with too many questions. Thankfully, no one was hurt. By evening, I realized I was behind schedule. The ferry was tomorrow, but I still had a long way to go. I decided to keep riding until nightfall. The cold seeped into my bones, especially on the downhills. Finally, I found a quiet spot by a river to set up camp. Exhausted, I fell asleep immediately. The next morning was as beautiful as the night had been. The weather was kind, and so was my mood. Breakfast was the same oatmeal with nuts and dried fruits, plus some coffee, and I was back on the road. The goal for the day was simple: catch the ferry. Time was tight, so I pedaled hard, full of fresh energy. Along the way, I passed through quiet villages where time seemed to stand still. I also tried to film as much as I could, for myself, for my family, and maybe even for my future kids or grandkids. Most of the time I filmed while riding, but sometimes I stopped, set up the camera, went back for my bike, rode past it, and then go back to collect the gear. It took time and effort, but I enjoyed it. By 2 p.m., I reached the village with the ferry dock, only to find out it had left 2 hours earlier. I tried to find a small boat to cross that day, but my plan fell apart. The only option was to wait for the next ferry at 7 a.m. the next morning and spend the night by the lake. At first I was disappointed, but then I suddenly realized that true travel should be filled with spontaneous, unexpected, and unknown moments. Routine, plans, schedules, all of that was left back home. I had escaped it, and now I was learning to embrace the randomness, and damn it, I was happy. While setting up camp, I had some curious four-legged visitors drop by. I made dinner, finally without rushing anywhere. I enjoyed a peaceful evening and went to bed, eager to see what tomorrow would bring.